Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we're going to cover a very exciting topic. Indeed, we will work on something more interesting and build a simple table-based app using UITableView, okay? Once you master the technique and the table view customization to be discussed in the next video, we will start to build a real-world app. But first of all, what exactly is a table view in an iPhone app? A table view is one of the most common UI elements in iOS apps. Most apps, except games, in some ways make use of table view to display content. The best example is the built-in phone app. Your contacts are displayed in a table view. Another example is the Mail app. It uses table views to display your mailboxes and emails. But not only designed for listing textual data, table view allows you to present data in the form of images. Okay, so what we are going to do today is create a very simple table view and learn how to populate data such as images and text into it. The app is very simple. We'll just display a list of countries in a plain table view, right? So if you're ready now, let's get started. Okay, if you haven't fired up Xcode yet, you're going to launch it and create a new Xcode project. Okay, then you're going to select the single view app template and then click next like this. And here you are just going to choose a name for your app. Okay, so I'm gonna call it Table View Course, EN for the English version of this course, and the rest you just let it as it is. Okay, then you save the project on your Mac like this, and once you are in the Xcode interface, you are first of all going to change the simulator device. Okay, so you are going to choose the iPhone 8 like this. Okay, first of all, we are going to take a look at our today's prototype, and as you can see, we need an image. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop it into the assets catalog here. So I select these three images and I just drag and drop them there. Fine. Also, you have to know that to present data in a table in an iOS app, all you need to use is a table view object. So first of all, select the main.storyboard to switch to the interface builder editor. In the object library, look for the table view like this object and drag it into the view. This one. Okay? Now resize the table view to fit the whole view. Okay? Like this. Then go to the attributes inspector and change the number of prototype cells from 0 to 1. Here, okay? A prototype cell will appear in the table view. You have to know that prototype cells allow you to easily design the layout of your table view cell. You can think of it as a cell template such that you can reuse it in all the table cells, okay? By default, a prototype cell comes with several standard cell styles, including basic, like this one, or right detail, or left detail, and also subtitle, okay? But in our example, we will use the basic style. For cell customization, I will leave it to the next video, okay? Cool. Here, this style is good enough to display a cell with both text and image. Additionally, set the cell identifier here to cell, okay? And then press enter. This is a unique key for identifying the prototype cell. We'll use it later when writing code. Cool. Okay, before moving on, try to display the interface on multiple devices and you are going to notice something. Okay, so here is the iPhone 8. If I bring some other devices like the iPhone 8 Plus and the iPhone SE, for example, as you can see, our design is not well placed. So if you watched my previous videos, you know why. Indeed, we haven't defined any layout constraints for the table view. Okay, this is why it's not displayed properly on every device. Now select the table view in Interface Builder like this, or here, for example, in the document outline. Then click the Add New Constraints button. In the layout bar, set the spacing of the top, left, right, and bottom side to 0, like this. Make sure the bars are in solid red and the constraint to margins, this one, is unchecked. Then click the Add for Constraint button to add the constraint. Cool. Here we define 4 spacing constraints for each side of the table view. The constraint to margins option is unchecked. In this case, the spacing constraints will be relative to the edge of the view. This ensures that all sides of the table view will stretch to the edge of the view. In other words, your table view will automatically resize to fit all screen sizes. Okay? If you tick the constraint to margins option, it will still work. I'm gonna show you now how the safe area is adjusted when the option is enabled or disabled. Okay? So this is how the safe area layout guide varies based on the selection of the constraint to margins option. Okay? Fine. Okay, we are now going back to the multiple devices view here. And as you can notice, the table view should now support all screen sizes. Okay? With the UI design ready, let's move on to the core part and write some code to insert the table data. Okay, fine. You have to know that the UIKit framework is one of the most commonly used frameworks. Okay, it provides classes to construct and manage your app's user interface. All objects listed in the object library of Interface Builder are provided by the framework. Okay. The button object you use in the Hello World app and the table view object we are working on right now are from the UIKit framework. While we use the term table view, the actual class is UITableView. Simply put, every UI component in the object library has a corresponding class. Okay? So if you click on any item in the object library, it reveals the actual class name in the pop-over menu. Nice. Now that you have an idea about the relationship between TableView and UITableView, we will write some code to insert the table data. Okay? Select View Controller.Swift in the project navigator to open the file in the editor pane. Okay? Cool. First of all, append UITableView Datasource like this and UITableView Delegate after UIViewController to adopt the protocols. As soon as you insert the code after UIViewController, Xcode detects an error. The red exclamation mark indicates that there is a problem. Okay? Xcode will highlight the line of code and display a message telling you the details of the issue. Okay? The message is helpful, telling the cause of the problem, and it also shows you the solution. Don't click the Fix button yet. What does it mean by type view controller doesn't conform to protocol UITableView Datasource? The UITableView Delegate and UITableView Datasource are known as protocols in Swift. To display data in a table view, we have to conform to a set of requirements defined in the protocols. Here, the view controller class is the one that adopts the protocol and implements all the mandatory methods. Okay? It may be confusing. What are these protocols? Why protocols? Well, let's say you are starting a new business. You hire a graphic designer to design your company logo. The designer is skilled and very capable of creating any kind of logo, but the designer can't start the logo design right away. In the list, you need to provide the designer with some requirements such as company name, color preference, business nature before he can create a logo. However, you're busy. You delegate the task to your personal assistant and let the assistant deal with the designer directly, providing the designer with the logo requirements. Okay? So in iOS programming, the UITableView class is just like the graphic designer. It's flexible enough to display various kinds of data, such as image, text, in table form. You can use it to display a list of countries like us or contact names. But before UITableView can display the data for you, it requires someone to provide some basic information like how many rows do we want to display in the table view, what is the table data, for example, what do we want to display for row 2, what do we want to display in row 5. That someone is known as delegate object. In the above analogy, the personal assistant is the delegate object, okay? So in iOS programming, it also applies the concept of delegation, usually known as delegation pattern, okay? An object relies on another object to perform a specific task. In our project, the view controller is the delegate that provides the table data, okay? So how do we tell UITableView what data to display? The UITableView data source protocol is the key. It's the link between our data and the table view, okay? So the protocols defines a list of methods that you have to adopt. Okay, what methods should we adopt? Now we are ready to click the Fix button in the error, like this. As soon as we click the button, Xcode adds the following methods. Okay, the first one is number of rows in section, and the second one is cell for row at. Okay, these are the two required methods for the UITableView Datasource protocol. Okay, all you need is to provide the implementation so that UITableView knows the total number of rows to display and the data for each row. Okay, the protocol also defines some optional methods that we won't discuss it here. The UITableView Delegate protocol, on the other hand, deals with the appearance of the UITableView. All methods defined in the protocols are optional. They let you manage the height of a table row, configure section headings and footers, reorder table cells, etc. We won't change any of these methods in this example. We will leave that for a later lesson, okay? With some basic knowledge of protocols, let's continue to code the app. Select viewController.swift and declare a variable for holding table data. Name the variable country names and insert the following line of code in the class. Okay, in this example, we use an array to store the table data. The values are separated by commas and surrounded by a pair of square brackets. Right. Okay, what is an array? An array is a fundamental data structure in computer programming. You can think of an array as a collection of data elements. Consider the country names array. It represents a collection of string elements. You may visualize the array like this, okay? Each of the array elements is identified or accessed by an index. An array with 10 elements will have indices from 0 to 9. That means country names 0 returns the first item of the array. Okay? Fine. Let's continue to code. Okay, right now I'm gonna show you how to adopt the two required methods of the Tableview Datasource protocol. Okay? So in this method, we're going to return the number of rows in the section. So this is a commentary, the number of rows in the section. Okay, it's a commentary, it won't be taken into account by the compiler. Okay, so don't worry. So we return. Here the methods is waiting for an integer. Okay, so we are going to return country names dot count like this. The first method is used to inform the table view the total number of rows in a section. You can simply call the count method to get the number of items in the country names array. Okay, so as a side note, a table view can have multiple sections, but there is only one by default, right? And then for the second method, first of all, we need to set a constant identifier. So we are going to give it the same name that we gave in the interface builder. Remember, then we are going to create the cell. So let cell, let me write and then I'm going to explain you. Okay, tableview.deq reusable cell identifier and then index path like this. Then we are going to configure the cell. So I select the cell, then one of its property, text label, okay, and then text. And the text will be country names index path dot row, and then I return the cell. Okay, that's what is expected in this method, and that means return. Okay, cool. So the second method will be called every time a table row is displayed by using the index path object, this one. Okay, we can get the current row index path dot row here. Here what we did is to retrieve the indexed item from the country names array and assign it to the text label here, okay, for display. As a side note, you may wonder what the question mark next to the text label is for. Here, text label is an optional. To access the property of text label, we have to first verify if text label has a value. You can use iflet to perform the verification. Alternatively, you can place a question mark after text label, okay? But what is the deq reusable cell in the second line of code here? The deq reusable cell method is used for retrieving a reusable table cell from the queue with the specified cell identifier. The cell identifier is the one we defined earlier in Interface Builder. You want your table-based app to be fast and responsive. even when handling thousands of rows of data. If you allocate a new cell for each row of data instead of reusing one, your app will use excess memory and may result in a sluggish performance when the user scrolls the table view. So remember, every cell allocation has a performance cost, especially when the allocation happens over a short period of time. The screen real estate of iPhone is limited. Even if your app needs to display 1,000 records, the screen may only be able to fit 10 table cells at most. Therefore, why would the app allocate 1,000 table view cells instead of creating 10 table cells and reuse them? This would save tons of memory and make Tableview work more efficiently. For performance reasons, you should reuse Tableview cells instead of creating new ones. Okay, now let's hit the run button and test our app. Oops, the app still displays a blank table view just like before. Why is it the table view still not showing the content as expected? We have written the code for displaying table data and implemented all required methods, but why the table view didn't show the content as expected? There's still one thing left, okay? Even though the view controller class has adopted the UITableView delegate and UITableView Datasource protocols, the UITableView object in storyboard has no idea about it. We have to tell UITableView object that view controller is the delegate object for the data source, okay? So right now go back to main.storyboard here. Select the table view in the document outline, press and hold the control key, drag it from the table view to the view controller object in the document outline view, like this. Release both buttons in the pop-over menu, select data source, okay? Repeat the above steps and make a connection with Delegate. That's it. To ensure the connections are linked properly, you can select the table view again. Click the connection inspector icon in the utility area to reveal the existing connections. Okay, here you can see them. Finally, we are ready to test our app. Okay, simply hit the run button and load our app in the simulator. Wouldn't it be great to add an image to each row? UITableView makes it extremely easy to do this. You just need to add a line of code to insert a thumbnail in each row. So now edit view controller.swift and add the following line of code in the table view cell for row at index path method. Okay, here. Put it right before return cell, okay? Like this, we select our cell and we are choosing image view like this, then image, and simply choose this one. And as you can see, our image name is world. Okay, so we're going to call it world like this. Okay, after the changes, we are going to run the simulator again. So the UI image class provided by the UIKit framework lets you create images from files. It supports various image formats such as PNG, PDF, and JPEG. You can pass the name of the image. File extension is optional, and the class will load the image from the asset catalog. Okay. Earlier, we selected to use the basic cell style for the table view cell. This type of cell style already comes with a default area for display images or thumbnails. This line of code instructs UITableView to load the image and display it in the image view of the table cell here. Okay, so right now our app is displaying the image in each row. Okay, as a side note, to scroll through the table in the iOS simulator, hold down the table, drag it up and down to move it like this. Okay, the content of table view now overlaps with the status bar here. This doesn't look good. An easy remedy is to hide the status bar. You can control the appearance of the status bar on a per view controller basis. If you don't want to show the status bar in a particular view controller, simply add the following lines of code before the last closing curly bracket here. Prefer status bars hidden, and it expects a boolean, which means true or false, and we are going to return true. Okay, like this. And now if I hit the run button again, the prefer status bar hidden property indicates whether the view controller should hide the status bar or not. By default, the value is set to false. To hide the status, we have to override the default value and set it to true. Insert this code to the view controller class and test the app again. You should have a full screen table view without status bar. Really cool, right? Thank you guys. Thanks for watching this video. Tableview is one of the most commonly used elements in iOS programming. If you thoroughly understood the materials and built the app, you should have a good idea of how to create your own table view now. Okay, I tried my best to keep everything simple in this lesson, but in a real-world app, the table data is generally not hard-coded. Usually, it's loaded from a file, database, or somewhere else. But don't worry, we'll talk about that later, okay? Meanwhile, make sure you thoroughly understand how the table view works. Otherwise, go back to the beginning and study the lesson again, right? So if you enjoyed this lesson, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for upcoming videos on iOS Swift programming. And that's all for today, guys. Bye-bye.